Hello, and welcome to the Millennial Nutritionist podcast. I'm Isla Garcia, master's degree of nutrition science and registered dietitian, and I'm going to make weight loss realistic, sustainable, and uncomplicated for your busy lifestyle. On this podcast, me and my team of registered dietitians will decipher the latest nutrition research, dissect fad diets, and discuss social media trends for you so you can feel confident knowing what to eat to achieve your health goals. Research suggests that most weight loss programs aren't successful, but my experience has taught me that this is not because the participants aren't committed. It's because those diets are designed by non-nutrition professionals and center around severe restrictions. We are here to provide the facts about the science of weight loss so you can have the success you want and continue living your best life. Welcome back to the Millennial Nutritionist podcast. My name is Isla. I'm your host and founder and CEO of the Millennial Nutritionist. Today, I'm going to be introducing a new coach. I am super excited to introduce Hannah Abdulla. Thank you so much for joining us today, Hannah.
Hi, thanks so much for having me. I'm so excited to be here.
Yeah. So sad news. If anybody has caught on, Jack is leaving us. He's found a local place where he lives that he's going to work with. He always had a lot going on. So I'm excited that he's finding what his next step on his journey is. But we had a great opportunity to kind of think who else should be a great addition to the team. And Hannah was actually a previous intern of mine, I guess almost like a year ago at this point, kind of. And you always really stood out to me. And I was kind of thinking through who I'd really want to hire. And it's always hard because I don't have HR training or anything like that, but I think through what I would be looking for. And it was really everything that you had. I would just kind of be looking for another person like you. You were always asking really insightful questions, and I could just really tell that you had a huge compassion for all of our clients. And that's the biggest thing I really look for in coaches is that people really care and that are not judgmental, because I know our clients have been through a lot, and a lot of times, or I would feel like I'd say almost every time, their weight gain really isn't not where they want to be, and it's not their choice. Either they don't understand or things have happened in their life, and we have to really meet them where they are and just be their teachers along the way. And I feel like you already exemplified that through everything you talked about. So we'll dive a little bit today into you and your story and why you wanted to join us and how you can be a great coach for everyone. So let's dive in. Can you tell us a little bit about yourself? So where are you from? Where do you live now? Why did you want to become an RD? All the things.
Yeah, so I'm based out of Raleigh, North Carolina. I'm originally from Austin, Texas, but I've been here a little bit over 10 years now in the Raleigh area. I have a 10-year-old, and this is a really good spot I find to raise a family, so I don't foresee myself leaving anytime soon. You're close to the beach, you're close to the mountains, so geographically, it's also amazing. I did my undergraduate degree in food nutrition at Meredith College, which is also in Raleigh. And then I completed my dietetic supervised practice hours also in Raleigh at Meredith College. And you can see a trend here. I will be going to Meredith College in the fall as well for my master's.
Yeah, we love Meredith. Everybody on our team is now connected to Meredith except Courtney, she's the only one, but it's great.
The professors are fantastic. I really feel like I'm learning all of the things that I could possibly want to learn about the food nutrition realm and profession and all that good stuff.
Yeah, it's such a great team. I guess it's weird that kind of me and you switched spots. So back when I had you in the beginning, I lived in Raleigh, and we were actually able to do a presentation together in person, which is honestly pretty rare for me. And now I'm in Texas and you're in North Carolina. And oh my gosh, yes. I didn't realize how it feels to be landlocked all the way out here, because Austin's not too far away from Dallas. I feel like you probably get the vibe, and it's already so hot. How did you deal with all that growing up?
I have no idea. I think about that often when I see the news here, and it's 90, 91, and, the reporters are record breaking heat, and, there's a heat wave. And I'm like, that's crazy, because I played soccer in the heat in the triple digits every day and I never died.
Really? Oh my gosh. Yeah. People here are you want to go on a walk? I'm over 100 degrees. No, I'm not doing that.
And now I've been here for so long, so it hits 88 and I'm nope, not going outside.
Yes. Yeah. Yeah. Well, why did you become interested in nutrition, and what led you down the path to choosing to want to become a registered dietitian?
Yeah, so it actually happened totally by chance. I probably around the age for my son, he was probably 3 or 4, and I was really just looking to get out of the house, looking for an opportunity to get back to the community, and randomly started volunteering at a farmer's market, a connection I made like through a friend. And I started volunteering there, and I would go every single Saturday. And then that turned into like an internship. And then I started working there. And now I look back and I realize I was there for, I think, almost like 5 years. So I got super involved in like the community nutrition aspect of nutrition as well as agriculture. And then at a certain point, I realized that there wasn't much further I could go really without being a registered dietitian. So that prompted me to go back to school and get a bachelor's degree in food nutrition. And then from there, I kind of feel like the pathway is you become a registered dietitian after that. Like, most people that are getting a degree in food nutrition, that is the next step. Then I moved on to that. And here
Yeah.
I am.
Right, right. Gotcha. So wait, did you have an undergrad degree before, or was that your first one?
That was my first one. Yep. So I had the privilege to stay home with my son for a while, and I only worked, part-time, and then did the farmer's market part-time as well. So
Oh, cool, cool. Yeah. A lot of times nutrition, I feel like dietitians, it is like their second, I feel like, career. I met a lot of people at Meredith that were like that had done like totally different things for like a good bit of their life and then figured out they wanted to do it. I think a lot of people, as they become like interested in keeping themselves healthy, then realize that there's such a need for it. So I definitely don't think it's uncommon to kind of realize like what you want to do a little bit later in life. What about like, what do you feel like are the experiences or like classes that you took so far that will help you to be a really good coach for our clients throughout your journey?
as far as classes go, I mean, the classes taught me like the fundamentals of how our body works and what food is doing for our body, like at a cellular level. But as far as like making the connections as a coach and just really getting to know clients, I don't think I really learned that in a class. I think I learned that from you and my rotations. So I did two of my rotations actually with you, and I really think that is going to be like one of my biggest assets when I come on as a coach with you.
Yeah, you wanted to come back around and do like another week-long stint, which you helped us make a guide for motivational interview. And I did actually present it to all of our coaches and they really liked it and wanted a copy. And they found it really helpful. Because we're not taught all the ins and outs of how to really coach people through things from like a behavior standpoint. You helped us kind of make a guide for that, which I'll still definitely use for future RDs. But do you feel like anything was surprising when you interned with me for like that? I guess in the beginning, especially during that 5 week stint or 4 week stint when you were like really looking at all of the clients with me?
Yeah, so you were my first rotation as well as my wellness rotation. And I really, coming into a dietetics program, had no idea what to expect. And so I went in with an open mind, and there were a lot of, I guess, things that like stood out to me here and there. But I think the biggest realization I had was when I came to you at the end of my program for my elective rotation. And so in the middle, I did all my other rotations, including, a 3 month stint and clinical. And I think halfway through my clinical is when I started kind of like reflecting on my rotation with you earlier in the fall, and like just really like comparing and contrasting like all the differences in clinical, and realizing that while I love the way that clinical requires you to use your brain, it's so different, and I know you worked in clinical. So really like you're seeing patients for 5, 10 minutes. And I think 10 minutes is a stretch. And then a lot of times you never see them again ever. So there's no follow up. There's no like stories or, successes that you're celebrating with them. You're going in for 5 minutes and then you probably are not going to see them again. And what I remembered from my rotation with you back in the fall is just really like the positive energy that came from the sessions with every single client, and the like willingness of the coach to help, and the willingness of the client to really like put in so much work to have a healthier life, and celebrating like the little steps and successes that they are so excited to talk about every session. And that prompted me to do my second rotation with you, which is when I realized like, oh, I really like this. Like this is really like fulfilling, and it makes me feel good. And I know it makes like you and all the other coaches feel really good as well.
Yeah, I feel like a lot of people don't realize like how many jobs that dietitians can really have. And a lot of dietitians go into work in the hospital and first. And it's great. I feel like the benefits are great. Like you can be impactful in certain ways. I think, especially if you get like super specialized, maybe do like gastrointestinal issues or tube feeding and stuff, but you don't really get a lot of follow up. And I definitely miss that too. And our coaches love it. Great. They like find that they get so much like job satisfaction, which makes it you a better coach overall, because if you enjoy what you do, then you're going to put a lot more effort and energy into it. Do you love our realistic approach on nutrition but want to dive a little bit deeper? Let me tell you about the Millennial Living Membership Program. This was designed to help you stay motivated and inspired no matter what health journey you're on. We develop monthly nutrition and fitness challenges with prizes you can win if you stick with it to help motivate you through every month. To inspire you, we upload weekly recipes with downloadable food lists, monthly food demos, and we can even have a registered dietitian answer your questions on nutrition and weight loss. Our members form a community with other like-minded people to help support each other on their health journey. If you are seeking a way to stay motivated throughout your health journey with our method in mind, try signing up for the Millennial Living Membership Program for the first 2 weeks free by signing up on our website at themillennialnutritionist.com. I think something that makes a good coach is having compassion. And that's something you really showed, even just like through your questions and comments. How are you able to like have so much compassion towards this population or towards people that are really like bettering their health?
Yeah, so I think a lot of that probably is personality driven, but I think a lot of it was when I had the opportunity to sit on your session, I realized how many moms come to you. And I think being a mom myself, I think I truly was able to like empathize with that and understand like it's hard. And so I think just because I've also done it, I think it gives me some relatability and allows me to truly be empathetic, in a way that maybe somebody that's not a parent is actually able to do.
Right. Yeah. I'm definitely not a parent and I try my hardest because I'm compassionate as well towards like the general public, but it is hard, like certain challenges that I can't relate to, or I don't understand like the time management, especially with like people who have a lot going on and their parents. And so I think that'll really be beneficial to a lot of people who are also going through that. And as millennials, since that's a population we work with, almost everybody now I feel like is either thinking about becoming a parent at some point, trying to better themselves to become one, or is one now, or is pregnant. And so you'll definitely be super helpful to our future clients. And I want to dive into that in a minute. What impact do you really want to have in nutrition? I feel like every dietitian like has a like philosophy or like a goal that they really want to do and why they became a dietitian. So what is that for you?
I think my like nutrition philosophy is really similar to everybody else on the team in that I wish more people realize that nutrition doesn't have to be as hard as society has made it out to be. I
Mhm.
think society and like diet culture has made nutrition out to be like this really big scary thing. And I think people think that they have to kind of be miserable and give away all of their favorite foods like in order to be healthy. And so I think the biggest impact that I want to make in this area of work is for people to realize that that's not the case. You can still, enjoy a piece of cake on your birthday. You can still like go to your, I don't know, a work function or whatever and enjoy yourself while also still being healthy, still maintaining a healthy weight and just overall being healthy.
Right. I think that's great. And that's exactly what we look for as coaches as well. We don't want to be, it's not like sustainable to say that you're never going to be able to eat any fun food ever. And that's where a lot of clients come to us from and are really confused by the fact that we're saying, no, you can like drink your alcohol, you can like have your, cake or whatever. But weight loss can just be about choices every day, deciding today, do you want the beer? Or do you want the hot dog coming up, on July 4th? Why did you want to become a coach with us? Like, why did you accept the offer, in general?
Again, I think it would have been different if I hadn't have interned with you because I don't think I would have known what I was getting myself into. But again, just after watching the sessions and seeing like the different people that come to you and like all of the like moms that come to you like with really valid like concerns and struggles, and I feel like because I have that empathy and relatability as well as just like the knowledge that my training and hours and education provided me, like, I think I would be a really good fit for not every client, but
Yeah. No, for every client for sure. But yeah, I think that mom aspect, we're kind of trying to become a little bit more educated on how we can help because our population is growing older as far as millennials. And so let's kind of dive into what that's going to look like. Since you're going to help take on some, Catherine does take on our mom clients as well, but we're kind of going to subspecialize into the type of mom clients that y'all all get since we're getting so many. So why is that? Like, why do you specifically want to work with these clients?
Yeah, so I think being a mom myself and having been in the realm of motherhood for almost 11 years now, I have a huge circle of mom friends, and I've met so many moms, throughout my journey in motherhood. Probably the most common struggle that I hear is juggling all of the things that are on their plates. And I'm not going to call it time management because it's not, the amount of things that they're doing is like not reasonably like able to be fit into any chunk of time, really. But they're juggling their children and their spouses and their jobs, they're juggling play dates and all of these things. And they're working so hard to fill everybody's bucket. And I think most often, I'm not going to say all the time, but I really feel 98% of the time, their bucket is the last bucket being filled. And both mentally and physically, really, we're putting often our own health on the back burner, and we stop making time for physical activity. We stop making time for making balanced meals. We're eating goldfish and leftover peanut butter and jelly sandwiches. So going back to your question, I think pre and post pregnancy wellness is a good specialty for me because I think that's where we can set a good foundation and begin establishing routines and really get tools under our belt to where when we shift into motherhood, we can still take care of ourselves while also taking care of, this little tiny human that we have now.
Yeah, and that's great. All the things you've hit on are things that I really like struggle. Well, I'm not struggle with, but I see with my clients. And as I started working with more moms, I didn't realize how, I mean, they have like the least amount of time in the world, I feel like. And then, yeah, there's that added layer of just what you said of like, I guess, like, would you call it mom guilt of like, when I like recommend to a client, like, could you find time to like maybe do a 30-minute strength activity? And they're like, oh, but I really need to spend like all this time with my kids, or like they kind of come first, needing to feed them, prep their meals, stuff like that. But then they neglect to prep their own meals for themselves. What do you feel like are some solutions, or like what would you work through, do you think, with a client who maybe struggles with that part specifically, like putting themselves last?
So I think first coming in with understanding, right? Because I do think, which I think we talked about this before, the like pressure that society puts really to be perfect in every single aspect of our lives. And that, well, you have to make time. Well, everybody has the same 24 hours, but like that's not always the case. So I think by like understanding that they are juggling a lot. If you are a stay-at-home mom with 4 kids, like you're not going to have the same amount of time in the day as, somebody, in their early 20s with no kids. And so I think treating them as they deserve to be treated and really understanding where they're coming from is really what is going to make the biggest difference for them. And just helping them do what they can with what they have rather than having unrealistic expectations of them.
Right. Yeah. So I feel like I kind of hear you saying, like, instead of being like, okay, we know we kind of need to get all these things, like, let's just force yourself to do it and figure it out. Like you're saying, like, let's really like peel back, like what's really realistic for you and what can we get done and what can we move around and what maybe can't we move around, and just figure out like what that means for you in that time of life. Is that kind of what you're saying?
Yeah, absolutely. I'm not going to, tell a mom like, well, you need to go to a gym and you need to go there for 2 hours every single day because that's a lot of time, right? So the conversation we might need to have with them is, well, what if we like, took all the kids and went on a walk, right? Like that's more reasonable, right? Than expecting them to like just get rid of their kids, which they probably can't do, and then, do a 1 hour cycling class. So I just, it's going to look a little bit different.
I find that as well, like trying to figure out like how to prioritize themselves while also still like taking care of their kids and finding those little times. But sometimes it doesn't have to be as hard. Like I find playing with their kids, or even like doing something while napping, or enlisting the help of a partner if you can, or some things that I kind of see too, which I'm sure you'll help with. So we're also going to try to get you to help with some of our newer moms. We have had a lot of interest with people wanting to start losing weight closely after they've had a child. Maybe they're upset about the weight they've gained through pregnancy, or they already were overweight going into pregnancy and they've gained more. Are there any certain or like unique challenges you think come from trying to lose weight at that time, whether you like either went through personally or you can even think of that a client would struggle with?
Post-pregnancy,
Yes.
I did struggle with this. And, I know a lot of other women who did as well. Again, societal pressure, which I'm just going to keep saying because it really is so real, to immediately get your body back and to snap back, like, right away. You hear that all the time. And so I think that's hard. And I think it's dangerous. And I think it is unrealistic. Our body is gaining weight throughout pregnancy because it needs to gain weight and it's supposed to gain weight. And we're using those fat stores that we have acquired during pregnancy for recovery and for lactation afterwards. And so we're utilizing that, and it's going to take time to decrease the fat stores if that is the goal. I think being in communication with a dietitian and a physician who really understands that, rather than somebody that's going to be like, oh, try this, fad diet over here. I think that's crucial. If you severely calorie restrict after delivery, I mean, one, if you are breastfeeding, you have the chances of really disrupting your milk supply. You could have really good production and then all of a sudden throw it completely out of whack if you're under too large of a calorie restriction. And then, with too big of a calorie restriction, you also may experience like being lethargic if you're not getting enough. And nobody needs that after you've delivered a baby.
Right. Yeah. You'll really make sure to be like a sounding board for what is realistic and honoring people like what they've been through. Like you've just had a baby. Like that is an amazing triumph in and of itself.
Right.
We've got to get our bodies some recognition and then like work with it to, get the weight down, but knowing that like it's not like a normal time in your life. And it sounds like you'll be a good way to just remind people of that. Cause like you said, yeah, there's like such a huge pressure with, I feel like tons of actors and influencers. And even like, I hear the craziest stuff on Pinterest. I'm definitely not on that like algorithm of like how to lose weight while you're pregnant and how to like lose a bunch of weight like right after too. But there can be, like you're saying, some like clinical side effects of like not being able to feed your own baby. Is that kind
Yeah.
of what you feel like you're saying?
Yeah. Exactly that. Really, it really can impact your milk production when you severely restrict, and you're just not going to feel good.
Yeah.
Regardless of whether you're pregnant or not pregnant, or I mean, if you are eating below what you should be eating, you're not going to feel good, and you're not going to have a decent amount of energy. And that's not something you want to do to yourself right after delivering your child.
Do you feel like there's anything new moms can do to even like start on this on their own? Or we can even just start with the whole like making sure that you are being safe and making sure you're not like putting too much pressure on yourself to like lose a bunch of weight before. Like, what's a solution for that, do you think?
Yeah, I think that, again, either work with a dietitian if you have, specific goals. And then I think really being easy on yourself and understanding, maybe instead of putting all your focus on like weight loss or, I need to drop these 20 pounds, like, in, 2 months or, whatever, maybe shift the focus to, all right, what is a reasonable amount of physical activity I can get, once cleared by my doctor? I can take a small walk in the neighborhood. Or, oh, what I've noticed? I'm only eating 2 servings of produce a day. Maybe my goal should be to increase to 5 or 6 servings a day, or making sure you're hitting your protein needs. So maybe taking the pressure of weight loss off and try to shift the mindset really to just being healthy for yourself and healthy for your baby.
Yeah, because I'm sure, like you said, that'll make you feel better. That'll make you have more energy as opposed to just like depriving yourself of all food and then feeling worse. And then like it's already a hard time to go through. So I feel like I hear you saying like focusing on things that will just honestly make you feel better, but that are in alignment probably with weight loss as you continue to do them.
Yeah, I mean, more likely than not, if you're increasing your veggies and your fruits, and you're increasing your physical activity a little bit, even if it's slightly, most likely you will see a little bit of weight loss to come along with it.
Right. Yeah. And it'll be more sustainable than like crazy other efforts like decreasing your calories to 1,000. What do you think the healthy impacts can be of when like a mom's healthy and then is able to portray that to her child? Like, do you feel like children learn from that? Or what do you think would happen if a mom is learning more about just like how to be healthy?
Yes, I think that's so important. Really, our kids are learning from us in all aspects of life, right? Like we're the ones molding them to be like good children, good people, good humans. And with that, they're learning food habits from us and they're learning, positive relationships with their body from us. If you're the type of person that, you're criticizing your body in front of your child, your child is going to possibly have that view of their body also. And that's not healthy for anybody.
Mhm.
And so outside of, like the physical aspect of just like creating a positive like body image, but also creating healthy eating habits for your children, like making sure, you're putting a fruit or a veggie like on each of their plates or on your plate and, letting them try different things. Like maybe you tried an avocado and you're going to let them take a bite out of it, little things like that. We're really influencing the healthy eating patterns, which are going to set them up for their whole life.
Yeah. What happens on the reverse end? Like if you are trying to lose weight in a super restrictive way, aren't trying to be healthy about it, like do you feel like that can have effects on your children as well?
Do you mean like if I myself am restricting greatly, how that might negatively impact my child?
Yeah, if like you're even for like the rest of your life, say, because the story I hear time and time again, a mom is pregnant, is gives birth, can't lose weight, gains a lot of weight, and then is constantly on these like restrictive diets for essentially like a lot of the kid's life. How do you feel like that impacts, I guess, the relationship with food that a child would have?
Yeah, so I think that alone is like a huge impact with restrictive diets. We don't want to teach our children from a young age that they need to feel like they need to diet at the age of 8, right?
Mhm.
Or that they need to feel, healthy activity. And of course, it's great, but that they need to feel that, oh, I ate a bowl of pasta. I need to now run, for 2 hours to burn it off. Like these aren't, positive values that we're really instilling in them. And it can be detrimental to them, especially, when they enter like preteens and teens, eating disorders come up and we don't want to instill negative food values or, body image values in our children.
Yes, because those go so deep. Whenever I get a client, I always ask them, like, kind of how did we get to the weight that we are now? And a lot of it starts back with, well, my mom was always doing this one thing. And she was always like, oh, let's do this diet together. And then I never really learned how to eat just like normal fruits and vegetables. And then it can be hard to undo like 20 plus years of what you've thought about food now. And so I think it can be a great service to your children to go ahead and model what that looks like, is what at least I would hope so.
Yeah, no, I agree completely. I have, I'm sure this is relevant to men as well, but I have mostly female friends, and I've heard many of my female friends make comments like, "Oh, when I was a teenager, my mom told me that like, oh, I had chubby thighs," or my mom told me that I needed to like stop eating, like, I couldn't eat 3 pieces of pizza or something like that. And these women are now mid 20s to mid 30s and they remember that very well, and that has still impacted their relationship with food. And just like you said, I mean, when you're talking about like something that happened in childhood, I mean, you're peeling back layers of 20 years.
Yes, yeah,
Hard.
yeah. What about like on the reverse end before somebody's pregnant? Because I think they'll be a good candidates for clients for you too, because you'll know like what to really put in their head and what they want to be thinking about. Are there any special concerns you think of like for people who are wanting to become pregnant and trying to lose weight?
Prior to pregnancy, I think it is generally recommended to try to be at a healthy weight. Unfortunately, there is a lot of research that kind of shows that a higher body weight may lead to risk for complications during pregnancy and during delivery. So it's definitely something to be mindful of. If you are already pregnant, it's never recommended to lose weight. But if you are talking about becoming pregnant at a later time, that's something to be mindful of. And again, that's also a good time, if you don't want to like hit a diet super hard or, try to drastically lose a lot of weight, it's not a bad time to, again, just overall like shift your plate, have more fruits and veggies on the plate, have some more protein on the plate, and just really have mindful eating.
Yes, yeah. So you're saying you might have better outcomes with your pregnancy if you are at a lower body weight. And so it's better too to go ahead and do that in a healthy way so that everything just kind of carries through all the way till after
Yeah.
pregnancy. Is that what you're
Yeah.
saying?
Yes.
Yes, because I see it time and time again too, where people are like, oh, well, I'm just going to do this like restrictive diet just to get to this low body weight. And it's like, yeah, but you're really just like doing further damage when you get to that like lower weight from a more restrictive way, then it's likely to bounce back even more than it did before if you damage your metabolism or you're just not becoming very healthy. And that's a main reason why a lot of doctors recommend losing weight to be healthier. And so that's why it's important, I think, also to work with a registered dietitian for these goals for the long term. And then finally, I think other good candidates for you would be stay-at-home moms, which comes with their own set of challenges. Can you kind of speak to any of those challenges that you feel like stay-at-home moms struggle with when it comes to weight loss?
I want to first say that I have been a working mom and I've been a stay-at-home mom. And let me tell you, I had such a hard time being a stay-at-home mom.
Really?
Oh, it's so exhausting. It's being a mom in general has so many challenges, but it was harder for me, I felt, to be a stay-at-home mom. You're not getting much adult interaction. You're talking to a 2-year-old all day, and that's your only communication with anybody. The tasks at home are endless. You're not getting a lunch break. So to stay-at-home moms that are, listening to this or clients, like, I see you, I truly do. And I know you're not making excuses. You're likely doing the very best with what you can. And it's just super hard. And I want to validate that. I think the trickiest part about being a stay-at-home mom is really just finding the time to have a balanced meal and to get, or even eat a meal at all, really, and to get adequate physical activity. You don't have to take an all or nothing approach, and it doesn't have to be perfect. And really, mom or not, it's not going to be perfect. It's never going to be perfect, And going back to, maybe you skip the 1 hour cycling class because that's not reasonable anymore. And instead your physical activity is a power walk around the neighborhood with baby in a stroller. And that's totally okay. Right. And then I also think, as far as meals go, that maybe we need to, we have all these things on like Pinterest with these beautiful gourmet meals that probably take 2 hours to make, but it doesn't have to look like that. If you like to cook, sure, do it, but you can have a balanced meal that is simple and takes only 5 to 10 minutes to prepare. And it's totally fine. And, I'll be honest, the other day, my son had like 5 friends over and they're all boys and they eat a ton. And I made chicken nuggets and sliced pears and I was swamped. So I made myself chicken nuggets and I put it on a salad. And if I had grilled chicken, I probably would have done that. I don't love dinosaur chicken nuggets, but it was what it was. But, when I reflect on it, I got my protein. I met my protein goal for the day. And that was a pretty hefty salad. I would say I got 2 to 3 servings of produce. So was it perfect? No. Was it perfectly fine for me to eat though? Yeah, absolutely. And so again, I think the biggest takeaway is that it doesn't have to be perfect, and that, with effort on like your part and guidance from, a dietitian or somebody on the Millennial Nutritionist team, you can make changes and it'll be fine.
Beautiful. I love that because it is hard. And I think it's hard, especially with like the age we live in where like food is like looking beautiful. And we do want to get like the perfect like chia pudding, flaxseed, like type of meat thing. And a lot of times when I tell my mom clients, I'm like, look, you can probably eat what your kids are eating. You just maybe need to increase portions and it's going to be better for you than eating just like 2 RX bars for lunch. Cause that's honestly not super balanced. And a lot of moms are, take it hard in the beginning because they want it to be perfect and they want it to be maybe perfect for their partner or whatever, and just like really breaking down. But I think that's where the help of you can come in to be like, no, you're still meeting all of your macronutrient goals. Like, let's look at this and just think about, it may not look fancy, but all of those things are intact. And then you can just move on with your day. Cause I find that a lot of my mom clients really struggle with like thinking about it all day long. And it's like, they're crippled by like, what's the right choice? And they got to just pick something. So they end up just picking goldfish when that's not the right solution either.
Yeah. And like you said, I mean, eating, I could have probably eaten just a protein bar for lunch, but, when comparing my dinosaur chicken nuggets on my salad to, just a plain protein bar, my chicken nuggets and my salad was probably the better option,
Yeah, no, I say that a lot with my stay-at-home moms. It seems like the lack of structure, like you said, like no designated lunch break. It's like the day will just go by and then it's like, oh, I just forgot. I didn't realize that I needed to also like prep something for myself. What's a tip you have for that? Cause that's a big problem I do see with my stay-at-home moms is like, just like time seems to go by because there's no structure in the day.
That's happened to me, and I hear about it with a lot of other mom friends too. They are so busy preparing breakfast for their kids and a morning snack and then lunch and then afternoon snack. And the next thing you know, it's 3 o'clock and all you've had is a couple cups of coffee. What I like to do is prepare, I try to take a little bit of time on like a Sunday or a Monday to prepare a few like staple items. Like sometimes I'll just like lightly seasoned chicken breast, and I'll just like grill that and I'll put it in a container and stick it on the fridge. Or I'll make sure like all my lettuce is washed and I'll put that in a container and stick it on the fridge. My fruit washed in a container, really just to make it throughout the week, because the weekdays are what seems to be like really busy. But that way, like, when it's a random Wednesday and you're just like swamped, you have kind of a foundation already in your refrigerator just to grab from. So if it just ends up being like a couple pieces of grilled chicken and, sliced cucumbers, it's better than not eating at all, for sure.
Okay, good. So you're saying like prep on the weekends. I had a mom client once and she finally broke through with that, which is like always making sure to get like a pound of deli turkey sliced and always making sure to get like a fruit bowl from Whole Foods. And it was hard because she wanted to make this like elaborate meal, but it was definitely better than like what she was eating before. And she was able to lose weight with all of that. So the weekends are key. What about one more problem that you can kind of solve for me? So what about people who are, parents of like older kids, and they're in the sports era. And like their Saturdays are like crazy with like tons of sports all day long, whether it's like soccer or swimming or whatever it is. And then they, like, again, the day like goes by so fast, but they're out of the house. What would you recommend for that? Cause I hear a lot of my mom clients end up just like skipping a bunch of meals there as well.
Again, in the era when like these meals on Pinterest look so beautiful with all these fancy items, there is nothing wrong with getting, making like a sandwich, right? Like, because again, that's going to be better than not eating anything.
Yeah.
So you can get like, put a protein on a sandwich, you can put your lettuce on your sandwich, and it's a sandwich, but I mean, you have your grain, you have your protein, you have your veggie, and it's balanced. Throw fruit in there, you call it a day. I'm a big fan of like getting the bags of salad mixes, which I also used to feel a lot of guilt about because I was like, I should cut my own lettuce, but the salad bags are very convenient. Dump them in a container, like throw on a protein and you can take that out with you. I learned from you like the power snacks. So having like a carb along with the fat or protein, so an apple and a cheese stick, those transport really well to those baseball games. But I just, thinking outside of the box and just remembering that eating something, even if it's simple and it's not this big fancy meal, is better than, just living off of protein bars or coffee or just skipping free meals.
Yes. Cause we see time and time again, it seems like that would work mathematically. Like the less you eat, the less you should weigh. But what ends up happening is your body wants you to eat. So it goes into overdrive, it causes you to be more hungry. And then before you know it, you're just getting like McDonald's on the way home and a McFlurry. Yeah. And then you're end up overeating all the time, as opposed to just going well with that like 400 calorie sandwich, add an apple to it. And that's gonna be less calories than a whole big meal at McDonald's. And you're able to like actually think through the day. How it relates back with everything. But awesome. I feel like we'll have to check back in when you get all of your clients and tell us all of your stories and all of your tips and everything like that, because I'm super excited. So make sure to check out Hannah. We're uploading all of her stuff to the website probably this weekend. I need to get on it, and then she'll be up and ready to go to take some clients. We'll do some specials in the beginning for pricing. If you have been waiting for our price to decrease, make sure to take the opportunity with Hannah, whether you're a mom or not. Hannah would be great to work with. We all kind of cross over each other's specialties because we're all adequately trained to be able to work with weight loss in a healthy way. But thank you so much for joining us today, Hannah.
Thank you.
Thank you so much for listening to the Millennial Nutritionist podcast. For daily weight loss tips and nutrition information, you can find us on Instagram at the.millennial.nutritionist and on TikTok at millennial.nutritionist. If you find this information helpful, please subscribe to the podcast and share it with a friend who needs encouragement on their health journey. See you in the next episode.